Did you know that the average person checks their smartphone over 150 times per day, with some studies suggesting that this constant connectivity is eroding our ability to tolerate uncertainty? This phenomenon is not just a matter of personal habit, but has deep roots in human psychology. Our brains are wired to seek comfort and certainty, and the constant stream of information from our devices can create a sense of security that is ultimately detrimental to our well-being. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information, and the ease of access to this information has created a culture of instant gratification. We expect answers to our questions at the touch of a button, and any delay or uncertainty is seen as a frustration. But what happens when we are faced with situations that are uncertain or unpredictable, and we can't simply Google the answer? This is where the concept of tolerance for uncertainty comes in, and it's a crucial aspect of human behavior that is being eroded by our reliance on technology. As we delve deeper into this topic, we'll explore the psychology behind our need for certainty, and how smartphones, AI, and other technologies are contributing to the erosion of our ability to tolerate uncertainty. We'll examine the impact of this shift on our mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. By understanding the psychological factors at play, we can begin to develop strategies for mitigating the negative effects of technology on our ability to cope with uncertainty. One of the key psychological factors at play here is the concept of cognitive dissonance. This refers to the feeling of discomfort or tension that we experience when we are faced with information that challenges our existing beliefs or values. In the past, we might have had to tolerate this discomfort for longer periods of time, as we sought out new information or perspectives to help us make sense of the world. But with the rise of technology, we can now instantly access information that confirms our existing beliefs, and avoid information that challenges them. This can create a sense of certainty and comfort, but it also means that we are not developing the skills we need to tolerate uncertainty and ambiguity. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, it's becoming increasingly clear that our ability to tolerate uncertainty is being eroded by our reliance on technology. We're constantly seeking out answers and solutions, and we're becoming less and less comfortable with the idea of not knowing. But this is a critical aspect of human behavior, as it allows us to adapt to new situations, learn from our mistakes, and develop resilience in the face of adversity. By examining the psychology behind our need for certainty, we can begin to understand the ways in which technology is shaping our behavior, and develop strategies for mitigating the negative effects. Building on this idea, let's consider the role of social media in shaping our perceptions of uncertainty. Social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram present us with a curated version of reality, where everyone's lives seem perfect and certain. We compare our own lives to these idealized versions, and feel like we don't measure up. This can create a sense of uncertainty and self-doubt, as we wonder if we're doing something wrong or if we're just not good enough. But what if we were to take a step back and recognize that these platforms are presenting us with a distorted view of reality? By acknowledging the uncertainty and imperfection that exists in everyone's lives, we can begin to develop a more nuanced understanding of the world, and cultivate a greater tolerance for ambiguity. As we move forward, it's essential to consider the impact of AI and machine learning on our ability to tolerate uncertainty. These technologies are designed to provide us with quick and easy answers, but they also have the potential to create a sense of complacency and over-reliance on technology. When we rely too heavily on AI and machine learning, we can start to lose our ability to think critically and make decisions for ourselves. This can lead to a lack of personal growth and development, as we're not challenging ourselves to learn and adapt in new situations. By recognizing the limitations of these technologies, we can begin to develop a more balanced approach to problem solving, one that combines the benefits of technology with the need for human intuition and critical thinking. Now, let's take a closer look at some psychology facts that can help us better understand the erosion of our ability to tolerate uncertainty. Research has shown that humans have a natural tendency to seek out patterns and meaning, even when none exists. This is known as apophenia, and it can lead us to make incorrect assumptions and jump to conclusions. When we're faced with uncertainty, our brains will often try to fill in the gaps with information that confirms our existing beliefs, rather than seeking out new information that might challenge those beliefs. This can create a sense of certainty and comfort, but it also means that we're not developing the skills we need to navigate complex and uncertain situations. Moving forward, it's essential to consider the role of human behavior in shaping our ability to tolerate uncertainty. When we're faced with uncertain or unpredictable situations, our natural response is often to try and regain control. We might do this by seeking out more information, trying to predict the outcome, or attempting to manipulate the situation to our advantage. But what if we were to approach uncertainty with a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than trying to control it? By embracing the unknown and being willing to learn from our mistakes, we can begin to develop a greater tolerance for uncertainty and cultivate a more resilient and adaptable approach to life. As we continue to navigate the complexities of modern life, it's becoming increasingly clear that our ability to tolerate uncertainty is critical to our mental health and well-being. When we're able to approach uncertain situations with a sense of curiosity and openness, we're better able to manage stress and anxiety, and develop a more positive outlook on life. We're also more likely to form deep and meaningful relationships, as we're able to connect with others on a more authentic and vulnerable level. By recognizing the importance of tolerance for uncertainty, we can begin to develop strategies for cultivating this skill and creating a more resilient and adaptable approach to life. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There are many ways that we can work to develop our tolerance for uncertainty and cultivate a more nuanced understanding of the world. One approach is to practice mindfulness and meditation, which can help us develop a greater sense of awareness and acceptance in the present moment. We can also work to develop our critical thinking skills by seeking out diverse perspectives and challenging our own assumptions. By embracing the complexity and uncertainty of the world, we can begin to develop a more resilient and adaptable approach to life and cultivate a greater sense of purpose and meaning. In addition to these strategies, it's essential to consider the role of technology in shaping our ability to tolerate uncertainty. While technology can be a powerful tool for learning and growth, it can also create a sense of complacency and over-reliance on instant answers. By recognizing the limitations of technology, we can begin to develop a more balanced approach to problem solving, one that combines the benefits of technology with the need for human intuition and critical thinking. We can also work to create technologies that support our ability to tolerate uncertainty, rather than undermining it. For example, we could develop AI systems that provide us with nuanced and uncertain information, rather than simplistic and certain answers. As we move forward, it's essential to consider the implications of our erosion of tolerance for uncertainty. If we're not able to develop the skills we need to navigate complex and uncertain situations, we may struggle to adapt to the challenges of the future. We may become more anxious and stressed as we're faced with situations that are beyond our control. We may also struggle to form deep and meaningful relationships, as we're unable to connect with others on a more authentic and vulnerable level. By recognizing the importance of tolerance for uncertainty, we can begin to develop strategies for mitigating these negative effects and creating a more resilient and adaptable approach to life. But here's the revelation: our brains are capable of reorganizing themselves in response to new experiences and learning. This is known as neuroplasticity, and it means that we can develop our tolerance for uncertainty, even as adults. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, and other forms of mental training, we can strengthen our ability to cope with uncertainty and develop a more resilient and adaptable approach to life. We can also work to create a culture that values uncertainty and ambiguity, rather than trying to eliminate them. By embracing the complexity and uncertainty of the world, we can begin to develop a more nuanced understanding of reality and cultivate a greater sense of purpose and meaning. In conclusion, the erosion of our ability to tolerate uncertainty is a critical issue that has significant implications for our mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. By understanding the psychological factors at play, we can begin to develop strategies for mitigating the negative effects of technology on our ability to cope with uncertainty. We can work to cultivate a greater sense of curiosity and openness, rather than trying to control or eliminate uncertainty. We can practice mindfulness, meditation, and other forms of mental training to strengthen our ability to cope with uncertainty. And we can create a culture that values uncertainty and ambiguity, rather than trying to eliminate them. By taking these steps, we can begin to develop a more resilient and adaptable approach to life, and cultivate a greater sense of purpose and meaning. So what can you do to start developing your tolerance for uncertainty? Start by practicing mindfulness and meditation, and work to develop a greater sense of awareness and acceptance in the present moment. Seek out diverse perspectives and challenge your own assumptions to develop your critical thinking skills. And when you're faced with uncertain or unpredictable situations, try to approach them with a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than trying to control or eliminate the uncertainty. By taking these steps, you can begin to develop a more nuanced understanding of the world and cultivate a greater sense of purpose and meaning. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's work together to create a culture that values uncertainty and ambiguity.